All right, everybody. Sean Ash along, Matt Standridge here a little after 3 o'clock, and can't stress this enough. We have a long way to go, partner.
Yes.
You know, I know a lot of folks still saying, "Where's my snow? Where's my snow?" Hang tight. And if you want some, if you live south of I-70 or if you live along I-70, you're gonna get some more snow.
You already got quite a bit.
Yeah. So what's going on? Matt and I looking at live Doppler 13 radar here. And this sticks out like a sore thumb. The lift in the atmosphere is increasing so much that we are getting, we are getting a bunch of thunder sleet reports.
You can see the lightning strikes there in southern Illinois.
And so it's moving northeast. And I show you this because we are going to, the next several hours, we're talking Bloomington, Columbus, Seymour, Bedford. We're going to have a zone probably over 1 inch per hour snow rates returning. And because we're getting more lift and more moisture, we're going to start to get some heavier rates around the metro area as well. So again, we got a long way to go. So if this is the first time that you're joining us on the stream here, we'll show you the radar imagery. So this is so I've gone from intensity, just precipitation intensity, to now just precipitation depiction, if you will. So this is all snow that's falling around the metro. And then this is Matt and I just made a few tweaks to what we had going earlier this morning, nothing crazy, and we'll still continue to fine tune this. But that purple shade is gonna be 8 inch to a foot. There's always someone that gets a little more, gets a little less. And then for now, we're keeping the 5 to 8. I know a lot of folks still are saying, how are we going to get 5 inches of snow in Indianapolis? I mean, there's still a lot more to go.
Yeah. Well, you were just saying, a couple hours ago, we were at about 1.5 inches or so for Indy. That was a few hours ago. Yeah. And here in a moment, I'll show you some of the estimations, not concrete exact, but what that radar is estimating how much we got.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the moisture content of this snow is going to evolve with this storm. Yeah. What we get on the front side of it, going to have a little more moisture content to it. And because of that, eventually it's going to compact a bit.
It'll have to, yeah.
And then it will get to the fluffier stuff. So, but the bottom line is right now what is falling is highly impactful. It is. And I'll let you take over from there, partner, because we got accidents everywhere.
Yeah, big impacts on the roads.
Yep.
We're pretty much mostly snow covered across right around the Indianapolis area and farther to the south. Okay. All roads are pretty much covered now. Yep. I want to show you some accidents that we do have. We're keeping a very close eye. Sean, every time you see one of those little blue squares, that's where we do have a traffic incident. But I tell you what, there are many accidents starting to take place, and so it's getting tough to kind of point all of them out. I want to take you to the east side of the city. Guys, it is hard to see. The visibility is really low. This is where you have 465, you're going northbound. You've just passed Shadeland Avenue, you've passed East 56th Street, you're headed up towards I-69, you're headed to Fishers. So these are the northbound lanes. We've got southbound way over here, but it's hard to see. But where they've got the construction, 465 north is split. We have a car hauler, one of those carrying cars, that was involved in a crash. Now that's been taken into the middle where some of the construction zone is. They have been able to reopen one of the leftmost lanes, one of the most inside lanes to allow traffic through to go off to the north. But man, traffic is slowing down, which you want it to go slow, of course. Here's the problem though. When traffic goes slower, there's less friction from the tires, and you start accumulating even more on the roads. This is a live look at a major interstate, and look how snow covered it is starting to become. All right, now we take you to the east side of the city. We're out towards Greenfield for the Cougars. A little bit less snow because the snow took a little bit longer for it to really reach into Hancock County, but it's coming down in a big way now. When you're looking at the interstate, and this is something that you're probably going to notice close to where you live, you may be down to a lane or two. Maybe you start with 4 lanes, you go to 3, you go to 2, you may be down to 1 as the snow continues to fall and picks up in its rate. We've had a crash here on I-70 as you're looking westbound. So you've just passed Greenfield, you're at the Greenfield rest area. You're headed west to Mount Comfort and eventually to downtown Indianapolis in this direction. These lanes headed back east towards Newcastle and Richmond. But you notice this is the perfect example where cars don't travel. look how quickly the snow accumulates. It's just sitting there to stick. So we've got a semi-tractor trailer, looks like also a truck with a U-Haul involved in an incident. We got state troopers out there responding to this accident. State troopers are really busy. If you know a state trooper or a plow driver or a hospital worker or any kind of first responder, give them our thanks because they're working overtime. Look at the exit ramp too. Look how snow covered that is. Look how snow covered the shoulders are too. So you may have some traction right in the middle of the lane, but as you get closer to the outside edge, that's where the snow is really developing. Give yourself extra time. We wouldn't be surprised if your commute, where you've got to go this evening, if you got to get out, is going to take you 2 to 3, maybe even up to 4 times longer than it normally would, especially if more accidents start taking place. All right, this is our road sensor map. All this light blue shows you the snow that's covering the roads. Every single road. We were even looking at Meridian Street, which that was heavily salted right to Monument Circle. That is now also becoming snow covered. So all roads across central Indiana, especially close to Indianapolis, are now snow covered. Once you expand the view, we're a little bit less for the snow for Delaware County. Once you get north of Pendleton and Anderson, it's been lighter. Tipton and Kokomo, Frankfort, Lafayette, the roads aren't so snow covered. The snow has been kind of gradual. It's been lighter. But you get south of Cicero, you get into Westfield, as soon as you get into Lebanon, Crawfordsville, Anderson, Pendleton, and Newcastle and Richmond, that's where the snow-covered roads are happening, and they get even thicker farther to the south. Look for you guys in Morgan County. We've got some thicker snow out towards Monrovia right now on the roads. Heavy snow, a couple inches sitting on the road, not just a dusting, but several inches. Also out there towards Martinsville. If you look closely at the roads themselves, green means they're moving okay, but the yellow shows you where we are slowing down to about 30 miles per hour or so. Where you see some of the purple, we're stopped right now. And expect lots of stops as we go throughout the afternoon and evening because of the heavier snow. We expand out. You see more of that darker blue where the snow's been falling for a while now, parts of Illinois, and it's coming at us. So more snow-covered roads on the way. A lot of ice mixing in too. What Sean was just talking about, there's a lot of sleet in that too. So we're probably eventually going to switch more over to more sleet south of Bloomington, Ellettsville, Columbus, Seymour, Bedford, and there towards Jasper. Louisville also got snow-covered roads. So from Indy all the way to Louisville to Evansville, out west to Springfield, we are covered in snow right now. We're starting to also get some more snow cover there towards Ohio. When it comes to visibility, this is a map we use for fog, but guess what? It can also be used for snow. It tells us how far we can see. We're about down to 1 mile visibility for Indianapolis, Bloomington, Terre Haute, 1.5 miles there in Bedford, down to 2 in Richmond. But you notice there is a sharp cutoff, guys. We're kind of in that disappointment zone from Muncie, Kokomo, and Lafayette where you're not getting too much. Maybe you're happy about that though. We've got higher visibility. You can see. The problem is with the heavy snowfall rates, it gets tough to see. And honestly, it can get really tough to see the folks ahead of you. Make sure your headlights are on so people can see your taillights back behind you, even though, you know, you're just cruising. It makes it really tough to see if you don't at least have some of those taillights on. So watch out for slow driving. And Sean, you've been talking about the snow all day long. These are estimations from the radar. They're pretty decent about how much snow has fallen. Check out some of these totals. We're cutting off there towards Cicero, Westfield, and Anderson. But you go farther south, good 1 to 2 inches across much of the heart of central Indiana for the Indianapolis area. You get more towards the 2.5 to 3 inches, getting closer to Bloomington and Columbus. And then once you just get south of Bloomington, see some of these snowfall totals, 1/2 foot or so in a couple spots. And the snowfall totals will increase as these snow bands push to the north and east throughout the rest of the afternoon and throughout the rest of the evening. Sean, it is piling up in a big way, and you're tracking it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that map is pretty accurate. Brent up in, he's in East Central Madison County. He's like, they don't have anything.
This is where you're talking about right
Yeah,
here.
and I've had multiple people in Muncie.
Sure.
And then Dennis in Bedford, sorry, Dennis, he's already at 4, and I told him he's probably going to get another 4 to possibly 8 because they're going to be in that zone over the next 4-5 hours, where there's going to be some times where I think the rates are at 1 inch to 2 inches per hour over the southern third of the state. So, camera network looking like a winter wonderland here in central Indiana. Depending on your location, now this is what we look like downtown. And I'm not kidding you, Matt. Probably 3 minutes ago, when you were starting your hit there, I couldn't even see the skyline. So,
Wow.
so it's varying a little bit. Now, I want to again get back to the radar because, and again, this is intensity mode. We know it's all snow. So I want to do this so we can see where it's a bit heavier and or lighter. So for example, Muncie, there you go. That's not reaching the ground. What's going on in Muncie? What's going on in Tipton? And keep in mind, that is the zone that we knew there'd be a sharp drop off. But there's just not a lot of lift in the atmosphere now to overcome the drier air at the surface. And that is still going to be a battleground area. But Lafayette to Kokomo, I mean, you might get an inch. And then I was telling Brent in East Central Madison that also going to be in this gradient. So I still think 3 inches is doable in Anderson. And then Hamilton County is going to be a county where, places like Fishers and Zionsville may end up close to the 6-inch mark, but then you go into Cicero and Arcadia, and you're probably going to drop off rather quickly and maybe get more of a 3-inch snow. All right. So as we work farther to the south, so like Bloomington and Columbus, it's been intermittent of late. That will become more steady and become more heavy as well, as what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. And then you can see as we look into Brownsburg and Avon right now, there's a little bit of break in the action. And that's because we just haven't had enough lift just yet to completely overcome the slightly drier column at the surface here. Now, Matt's got a new, new end. Oh my goodness, where's this map?
This is Austin. This is down south by Crothersville and Scottsburg.
Yep. Okay. So, so this is southern Indiana, well, south central Indiana. Now, is that 65? Is that southbound? Do you know? Yeah, south or north, but you can tell there's an accident, and you can see the snow cover.
Check.
And this is twofold. I mean, they've just been getting crushed earlier today, and they got more on the way.
It's looking north.
All right, so that's northbound traffic. Okay, so this is northbound traffic there in Austin. In fact, let me take you back on the radar here, and we can show you. Again, this is south central Indiana, all right, where there's going to be a bunch more snow to go. There you go. There's Seymour and there's Austin. And you can go a little bit farther to the south. I mean, this whole area had just got crushed earlier. Almost 7 inches of snow in parts of Kentuckiana. There's I-64. Very, very rough, slow going there, okay? So here's our temperature profile. Now I've got it in precipitation mode. And so when you see those darker shades of blue, that's where it's a little bit of a steadier snow at the time. But we're talking 3 o'clock here. Now, if you were watching Lindsay this morning for the metro area, she had kind of, given a timeline of around 6 p.m. to near midnight for the heaviest. And I think we're still probably on target for that, okay? So, and what happens when that surge of lift and moisture comes in, it will eventually move the snow to make it up toward the ground here over the northern third of the state. Still going to be considerably lighter. Again, some areas over southern Indiana, I'm going to just put up our snow map. You can hop in here, Matt. I'm going to put that snow map back up. I want to look and see if we got some new, any new. So about 1 3/4 inches in Steinsville, that is in Monroe County. And then roughly 5 separate reports around Indianapolis in the 1.5 to 1 3/4. 4 inches in Washington, Indiana. And then from about 40 minutes ago, almost 5.5 inches east of Shoals. So we show you that because that purple shade, which by the way, that particular zone is the one we're probably the most confident in.
Yeah.
because of the moisture and the lift factor.
And then you have that huge batch of heavy sleet and snow coming in.
Yeah, and so what'll happen is, and if you haven't caught one of these yet, just north of that sleet zone is where you just get crazy snow rates. And so that's why we're going to tack on so much more to this area. Now, how far north does that make it? You know, and again, we're going to have a gradient in this snow, and it's going to be like, you know, so like Greenwood per se might have a good chance of getting, you know, that 8+.
Sure.
And then the northern side of Marion County into say get you into Zionsville or toward Fishers, maybe you're a little bit closer to 5 or 6.
Right.
Then you get into northern Hamilton County, maybe a little closer to 3.
Yeah.
So
huge difference.
But please know, regardless of how much snow you get, you know, we're going to have slow going here. I do expect that we're going to have just a bunch of road issues, even more road issues as we go through the evening.
My goodness.
I mean, look at this thing. Yeah. So this moisture's coming up. Now it's not, the really deep moisture is only going to make it so far south. So this is Bloomington right now.
Winter wonderland there. In
Winter wonderland for sure. And, but again, this is all charging this way.
Yeah.
Heaviest probably over the southern third of the state, but we should start to see, because again, we're getting some areas that, well, hey, it was snowing 20 minutes ago. I think we'll probably get to more of a steadier snow.
I think so. And you were talking about it earlier. These are thunderstorms. They've got a severe threat to the south. The warm conveyor belt, we can call it, pumps the moisture in, but then it switches over to the wintry side, and of course we're on the wintry side.
And so that'll be the game that we're going to play here for this evening. So we're showing you Future Track 13 so you can get an idea. And I had someone ask me a great question. She was like, hey, when should I have my plow company come out? Because she's like, I'd prefer to save some dollars instead of having them coming out a couple of times.
Right.
And I told her around the metro, maybe just hold off until around midnight perhaps, because we got a bunch more of snow to go.
Right.
So here we go. I'll stop the clock. This is around 8:30. So, the snow, again, lighter, but still impactful over that northern third.
Sure.
But boy, this is going to be,
that's heavy, man.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Will not stun me at all if we get some 12-inch plus reports down here.
Yeah. And that's why we do have the plus, because there are going to be spots that overperform.
Yes. Now, again, how far, where does that put us in this zone? We'll see.
Yeah.
We're keeping the 5 to 8 for now. And, hey, if we need to adjust, we need to adjust.
Sure.
So here we are at 10:30. And then what eventually happens is, everything kind of shuts down for a bit, although we need to really watch to see if we get freezing drizzle.
Could be possible. Yeah.
That would be a bad situation.
Yeah, because what it do, it kind of lock in the snow too. You put freezing rain on top of snow.
Yeah.
Not
So
good.
we're at around 2:30 in the morning here. Now, one thing that you're not seeing on this map, the wind is going to be cranking.
Yeah.
We are going to get into some big blowing and big drifting. And why that's important, even if you're only getting a little bit of snow, say, up at north, those east-west roads are going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Power outages, partner. Yeah. We start talking about a long stretch run of 35 to maybe over 45 mile per hour gust.
Yep.
We're probably going to have some power outages here. So 20 after 3, we're going to do a little regroup here. We'll be with you again top of the hour. And we appreciate you guys interacting with us on social media. Stay with us. We'll see you again at 4. See what happens with that burst of moisture coming our way.
It.
Take care. Be safe, please.